So let's face it, you can have all the talent and all the natural abilities in the world, but if you don't actually work hard, then you can't leverage those other two and get somewhere in life. Today we're going to be talking about hustle culture, and this idea revolved around, working till your eyes bleed or working as hard as you possibly can because that's the only thing that we have control over, which is true. But we're going to really dive into what hustle culture is and whether or not I'm going to subscribe to it anymore. When I was a kid growing up, everybody wanted to be an athlete. That was the cool thing to be. In your 5th grade yearbook, where you would write what you thought you were going to be when you grew up or what you wanted to be, it was always baseball player, football player, basketball player, soccer player. Now, if you ask a kid in 2022, what's the coolest thing that you can imagine yourself doing? You know what they'd say? They'd probably say, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be an influencer. I want to be a gamer. And like many things in many sectors in life, the internet itself has brought in so many different variables and changes and disruptions to so many different industries and ways of life. For instance, when the internet really started kind of popping off and when media really started kind of jumping on and we were able to actually watch videos, I guess I want to say around 2004, 5, 6, when YouTube really started, what we began to slowly see was people flexing as they usually would, on TV, but obviously a lot more people because everybody had access to social media. Everybody would be flexing, their Lamborghinis, their stacks of cash, and all these things, and that ushered in the question of, well, how do I get there? What do I do? How do I get what that guy or gal has? And they would always try to sell you some entrepreneurial type of thing, live the laptop lifestyle or make money while you sleep type of thing. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because eventually, I think in the last probably 5 to 7-ish years or so, we've been beginning to see that decline, I think, a little bit. But what's come in its place is what I think is hustle culture. And the reason I think this has kind of taken the place of the Lambos and the stacks of cash is because even to fake having to take a picture in front of a fake jet, or hop the fence into an airport and take a picture or whatever, even that takes a lot of planning and prep and weirdness, for lack of a better word. But hustle culture has taken its place because now I don't need a Lambo. I don't need a stack of cash. I don't need any of that. All I need is to flex how hard I'm working. So all I need is to take a picture of me on my laptop at a coffee shop and take a picture of me in a late night, my late night office setting, grinding till 2 a.m. or rising early at 5 a.m. or whatever it may be. Now, when you first started taking a look at today's episode and you heard the word hustle, one person might have come to mind, which is Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary Vee. Now, Gary Vee back in the day has made a name for himself around the word hustle. He's pretty much one of the main people who brought that word into our lexicon. I remember him saying in many of his videos, saying, work till your eyes bleed and I'm going to outwork you and and all these things about work, which is great. And I actually agree with him in many different ways. But even Gary Vee has started to reverse his tone a little bit. What he's realized is people are watching his content and watching his videos, and they're not even wanting what he wants. So ultimately what he's now talking about is really happiness, because if you're happy working 9 to 5 and being on all these different, intramural leagues for sports and hanging out with your kids and doing all these great things and going on vacations, that's awesome. He's saying, but as long as you're happy, right? If you're not happy because you want X, Y, and Z, well, you're going to have to work. So first, before I really go into whether or not I really agree with this intensity of work culture that we have going on in this hustle culture, what I want to do is I want to list some pros and cons that I've been thinking about that I think are really important to go through when you're looking at your own schedule. So number one, hard work is really the only controllable variable. Yes, we can talk about time being controllable as well, but we still only have the 24 hours in a day. How we choose to use that 24 hours and whether or not we work is ultimately our decision, and it's in our control, which is great. We can't control the clock, we can't control our natural born abilities, we can't control our natural talent, we can't control our family, we can't control our race, we can't control so many different factors, but we can control what we choose to do with our time, whether or not we work. The con to hustle culture really is if we go down this path, we can ultimately develop blinders to what the actual goal really is that we're trying to accomplish. Ultimately, if, say, we run a side hustle and we have a schedule that we set out for ourselves, say Monday through Thursday nights, it's our side hustle, and Monday through Thursday nights, so we're going to work on our side hustle, and we're going to do certain things on Monday and certain things on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, yada yada. But over time, we realize, the things I do on Monday and Wednesday nights are really not that important. I thought they were in the beginning, and Wednesday nights, maybe I can even do some of that on Thursdays, different things like that, and start assessing whether or not we actually even have to be doing the work that we told ourselves is so necessary. What is the ultimate goal for you? Is it to increase revenue? Is it to go full time? Is it to hire your first employee? How do we get to that goal or goals? And what's the action steps that are going to get us there versus what does just our arbitrary schedule look like? On the other hand, another pro that we should talk about is the fact that this schedule that I just mentioned could be really valuable to someone that's a little scatterbrained. So if you're an artist, like myself as a performing artist, as a musician, you could be a little bit scatterbrained. You could ultimately, have that artistic bone in your body where the one side of your brain takes over a little bit more than the other. And, we're just a little bit of a mess when it comes to our systems and processes, which is fine. So if we really choose to work hard and ultimately schedule something and put something down on paper, then that might be able to help some of us. Again, another con that we should talk about revolved around this whole hustle culture thing is that even if we tell ourselves that I'm going to outwork everybody, I'm going to be the hardest working person in the room, well, there's 8 billion people in the world. A lot of people. I can guarantee you that there's one person at least that's going to outwork you. So then we ask ourselves, what is really the point of having this intense structure and this really, really intense purpose behind trying to work so hard at the expense of our health, family, and friends? Now, something else I'm going to mention today is a topic revolved around diminishing returns. You have to understand the hustle culture and this hustle mentality has nothing to do with productivity, because as long as I post on Instagram that I'm working so hard and, rise and grind and yada, 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 right? As long as I post that, I'm part of the hustle culture. I'm flexing, man. I'm working hard. But nothing's actually getting done. Nothing's the needle's not being moved. I'm just spinning my wheels here, and I'm not even doing anything that's actually getting me one step closer to the goal. So we have to be really careful about not getting sucked into the sexiness that is hustle, because the fact that we have to first, in my opinion, put priority on a pedestal. We have to make sure that we're actually producing something that we want. If it's something, for instance, as left field away from business, say again, practicing an instrument, coming back from my musical life, my previous career as a low brass musician, there'd be many times where I would be practicing and I'd be realizing that maybe I'm just going through the motions, which is okay to an extent, but sometimes I may have to switch it up. I really should have a goal, or at least some type of mini objective every time I pick up my instrument. Because if I just go through my schedule because I told myself that I have to go through it, the only thing that would get me, specifically in a musical sense, is a little bit of muscle memory in my fingers and my embouchure. In many other respects, there's not that much that it can do for us. Again, if you're a content creator, and if you're an not really an influencer, but if you're a content creator, you're making YouTube videos, and you're just churning out videos because you think you need to, but all your videos suck, well then, what's really the point? Now, on the flip side of that argument that I just made, the point could be made that, well, the more videos I make, the more the algorithm has to learn about what my channel's about, the more chances people will find me, the more chances that something will go viral, which are all valid things. But I think it just simply comes back to being aware of hustle culture and being aware of where you fit into that game. Because if you're not somebody who is so impressed by the Ferraris and Lamborghinis and the stacks of cash and the girls, then maybe you are somebody who kind of fell in love with the hustle mentality, right? Almost the anti Lambos and stacks of cash guy. Because I'll tell you, when I first started down this road and I really got into the online space, and I did start watching, say, for instance, Gary Vee's videos, really definitely enjoyed his message on hard work. Granted, I came from a world of extreme hard work before that, so I already respected that. I already was part of that world, and I understood that was the variable of success. So I was already in there, but at the same time, it made me continue to rethink where am I going to spend my time, and what ultimately is the goal behind my work. So I want to hear from you. I want you to jump in the comments below, and I want you to tell me where you stand on hustle culture. Are you someone who is right now working till their eyes bleed? Or are you somebody who, if you had the choice, wouldn't work a day in your life? Or are you like me and you're rethinking where you stand on this, right? You're rethinking your schedule, you're looking at your output, and you're kind of asking yourself, what's next? So that's it for today. A simple conversation revolved around hard work, hustle culture, and where we all stand on it. If you liked today's video, please hit like and consider subscribing if you're not, and of course hit the bell notification so you can be notified of the next time I release a video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.